What is up, everybody? We had Friday Night Smackdown out of Montreal, Canada this week, and this was the go-home show before Saturday night's main event. So in today's video, we're going to break down all of the important things that happened over on SmackDown and what that means for the larger stories overall. We had new champions, we had number one contenders, we had people gunning for Drew McIntyre's titles. So what does that mean as we go into Saturday night's main event, as we go into the Royal Rumble next week, and as we head down the road to WrestleMania? Hey, you interested in following another dude that talks about wrestling while sitting at a desk? Well, it's your lucky day. You should hit that subscribe button and come and follow me. We post a lot on this channel. We post a lot of really interesting content. So come, be a part of it, hang out with us, and let's talk wrestling. First things first is we have to acknowledge that this felt like the most filler episode of Friday Night Smackdown since we started 2026, right? But by no means was it bad. The show was quite fine, but you can tell that WWE is just kind of running on autopilot until we get to the Royal Rumble, and then we establish all of these new stories that we're going to be telling all the way through WrestleMania, right? The Royal Rumble matches develops new stories with certain people in the ring against each other, certain people throwing each other out, certain people just getting in each other's way, and that's going to lead us towards the stories that WWE wants to tell towards WrestleMania. So we're fully on autopilot right now, which is perfectly fine. But like I said, by no means was it bad. We had some really interesting things that happened during Friday Night SmackDown this week. The Carmelo Hayes versus Ilja Dragunov match, obviously a great match. The whole thing with The Miz, if WWE wants to revisit that, if WWE wants to bookend that feud between Carmelo Hayes and The Miz, they have 1 week to do it. They have 1 week to do it. I want to see a match next Friday if that is what they want to do. I do not want this to be a feud that takes us all the way to WrestleMania. This is not a WrestleMania feud. Most of us have honestly forgotten or stopped caring about The Miz versus Melo. I no longer care about The Miz versus Melo. I don't want to see a match between Miz and Melo. I don't want to see them finish the feud. I don't care anymore. There was a point in my life, there was a point in my WWE viewing fandom that I was like, oh, they need to finish the story. WWE can't go on and not finish the story. I don't care about the story anymore. But if that is something that they actually want to do, they have to do it next week. Otherwise, this is a giant waste of time and no one wants this anymore. So The Miz got involved in Carmelo Hayes versus Ilja Dragunov. There was a segment backstage before that match where essentially Carmelo told The Miz that he hated him. The Miz criticized Carmelo Hayes, and he's like, this is the problem with the young people these days. You set up open challenges, and no one hates each other anymore. The Miz is like, well, I hate you. Or I'm sorry, Carmelo Hayes told The Miz, well, I hate you, and then kind of just left. And then The Miz came out during that match between Ilja Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes. He actually helped Carmelo Hayes win the match, which was honestly a really smart move because that is what would bug Carmelo Hayes more, is winning that match and not winning clean, right? That's the babyface way. So I kind of like that they went that way instead of having The Miz like beat down Carmelo Hayes. But like I said, I don't care about this feud anymore. Carmelo Hayes did win. He beat Ilja Dragunov. He's still the U.S. champion. But I don't care about this feud between The Miz and Carmelo Hayes. So if the WWE really wants to tell this story, really wants to bookend this feud, they have 1 week to do it. Otherwise, I don't care anymore. One of the things that I absolutely loved about tonight's show, one of the segments in tonight's show that blew me away, was that face-to-face between Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is so damn likable. There is nothing you can hate about this guy. His mic skills are absolutely amazing. His intensity is super believable. I think he's going to kick Cody Rhodes' ass every time they're on screen together. And this whole face-to-face thing made me believe that even more. So it was supposed to be an interview between Cody Rhodes and Michael Cole that was then interrupted by Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu was basically like, look, dude, I don't care that you think I cost you the title. Drew McIntyre was already going to win anyway, which is true, by the way. This is something that actually no one had mentioned, and Yeah, no, he's absolutely right. Drew McIntyre was on his way out of the cage already. If anything, Jacob Fatu stopped him from escaping before he did that whole thing where he beat Drew McIntyre up and Cody Rhodes up, and then Drew McIntyre escaped. Drew McIntyre was already on his way out, so Drew McIntyre was about to win that match. So good on you, Jacob Fatu. That's something that no one has pointed out yet. But anyway, Jacob Fatu, he's so charming, he's so charismatic. He talked about how they don't make him like him anymore, and he's absolutely right. He's like, you think just because you faced Samoans before that you know what I'm about? They don't make them like me anymore. Yada I mean, and yada I mean. I do know what you mean, Jacob Fatu. I want Jacob Fatu to just absolutely destroy Cody Rhodes. I want Jacob Fatu to leave no doubt that he is that guy, that he is the guy to win the Undisputed Championship next. And I want him to win the Rumble. I go back and forth because I also do think that Obafemi might win the Rumble. Like, we're getting vignettes every single week, twice a week, every Raw, every SmackDown. We get the same video package for Obafemi. So they're definitely building him up. And I wouldn't hate if Obafemi wins the Royal Rumble, but also I wouldn't hate if Jacob Fatu wins the Rumble. I want to see the triple threat match at WrestleMania. I've said this before and I've said it again, between Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship. And I want either a heel Cody Rhodes or a Cody Rhodes that turns heel at Mania. That's all I want out of this feud. Now, as for Saturday night's main event, yeah, this definitely set that up. I think that WWE would be doing everyone involved and itself a disservice if Jacob Fatu doesn't walk away from this as a winner. Jacob Fatu needs to beat Cody Rhodes. He needs to beat him clean, honestly, and he needs to absolutely destroy him. It wouldn't hurt Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is the last champion. He can absolutely just roll up and be like, hey, I want a title shot, and no one's going to blink an eye. We're going to give Cody Rhodes another title shot. So Jacob Fatu needs to absolutely win at Saturday night's main event, and he needs to just be an absolute monster at the Royal Rumble. I mean, come on, guys. He's all gas, no brakes. The whole Jade Cargill and Jordynne Grace thing, we're definitely going to get that at some point. I think that this is going to be the feud that we get in between the Rumble and Mania. I do think that we're still going to get Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair at Mania. Also, seeing these two women, seeing Jordynne Grace and Jade Cargill next to each other, I've never seen so much muscle in one ring. I don't care who you want to put up there. Brock Lesnar versus, I don't know, who's another buff dude? Brock Lesnar versus another buff dude, right? Sure. But Jade Cargill, Jordynne Grace, I've never seen so many muscles in my entire life. And I want to see these two women go at it. I want to see these two women just absolutely destroy each other. I want Jordynne Grace to be a champion, but I don't think we're there yet. So Jade Cargill had a match with Chelsea Green. I wouldn't call it a squash match, but it was an easy win for Jade Cargill. Also, Michael Hayes is an absolute moron. There's just no other way of saying this. Michael Hayes is an absolute moron for what he said on Unreal. Seeing Chelsea Green out there tonight and saying that Chelsea Green isn't made to be a star. She is the person that makes stars, right? Her role is to make stars. It's not to be a star. Chelsea Green is a star. Michael Hayes, you are an idiot. You are an idiot. There is no other way of saying it. Chelsea Green absolutely deserves to be a star. Chelsea Green absolutely deserves to hold the big one. Chelsea Green absolutely deserves a WrestleMania's main event. Period. Point blank. You are an idiot, Michael Hayes. So anyway, we had Jade Cargill beat Chelsea Green in not a squash match, but in an easy win. Jordynne Grace watched the match by ringside, just like Jade watched Jordynne Grace's match last week. After the match, Jordynne Grace grabs a mic. She's like, what was the point of this? This was such a pointless match. You keep having matches where you don't defend your title. Why don't we have a match right now for your title? Jade Cargill's like, nah, and then leaves, right? This is going to be a feud. I do think that this is probably going to be a match that we get at the Elimination Chamber, right? Between Jade Cargill and Jordynne Grace. A match before WrestleMania, just to kind of keep Jade Cargill active before her match with Bianca Belair. That's the match we're going to get. That's the match we want. It's Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. So I'm not mad at this. I don't hate this. And yeah, I absolutely want to see these two beefy women go at it and just destroy each other, right? These two muscly women just pay homage to Big E and just be two beefy women in the ring just destroying each other. I want to see this match. I want to see it soon. And I don't want to see it at WrestleMania, but I do want to see this match. So let's do it, WWE. Pull the trigger. We had new tag team champs today with the MFTs beating the Wyatt Sicks. I thought that we were going to get Tonga Loa. I get their names confused in my head. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. But I thought we were going to get Tonga Loa and JC Mateo versus Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, because that's what we have been getting. But no, we got Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga, which are by far the two best people in the MFT. So we had them two versus Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. And yeah, the MFTs are the new tag team champions. They definitely use the lantern for their advantage, not just as a weapon, but they did use it as a weapon. They also just used it as a distraction for the Wyatts, because the Wyatts care more about the lantern than they do about the belt, and that is perfectly fine. Now, this feud isn't over, right? Obviously, the MFTs walked away with the lantern, and that is what the Wyatt Sicks want. So we're probably going to get a match between Uncle Howdy and Solo Sikoa. I wish that they did this later. Like, I wish that this wasn't happening now, because I think that this deserves a WrestleMania build. I think that Uncle Howdy versus Solo Sikoa for Bray Wyatt's lantern would be a great WrestleMania match. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I love everything Wyatt. I love the Wyatt Sicks. But I think that this could have been a WrestleMania match. I don't see how WWE can keep this going up until WrestleMania, all the way up until April. That's what, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. I don't think that WWE can keep this going until then. But we're definitely going to get a match at some point between Uncle Howdy and Solo Sikoa for the lantern. And that will be what ends this feud. But yeah, like I said, as of now, I don't think this feud is over. This feud is obviously going to continue for that lantern. And we have new tag team champions. That's cool. They're probably going to use the free bird rule. So they'll probably hand off the tag team championships. Maybe JC Mateo and Tama Tonga, maybe Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. I don't know, but I don't think that Solo is going to be competing, defending the tag team championship. So the MFTs as a whole are now your new tag team champions. We had the women's tag team match for the #1 contendership. So it was Kiana James and Giulia versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax. This match felt off to me. Like, everyone in this match just kind of felt a little bit off. I know that these 6 women could put on a way better match. But yeah, the match just was really off. Ultimately, Kiana James and Giulia won the match. They stole a pin from Lash Legend. Lash Legend did her, what's it called? The Lash extension on Alexa Bliss. She was then taken out of the ring by Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair did, honestly, one of the worst spears I've seen in my life. She speared Lash Legend. They kind of brawled out of the ring. Kiana James was the legal person in the ring for her team. So she jumped on top of Alexa Bliss. 1, 2, 3. Kiana James and Giulia are the #1 contenders for the tag team championships. Look, like I said, this match was off. These 6 women could put on a better match. Whatever. I'm not going to hold that against anyone here. Like I said, I want the tag team championship, the women's tag team championships, to be ping-ponged around for a bit. I think everyone needs to hold it for a few weeks, a week at a time, so that everyone kind of has justification for challenging and being in women's TLC. And adding a new tag team in Giulia and Kiana James is fine. I don't hate it. Cool, let's put Giulia in more matches. There's nothing wrong with that. But she's the current women's US champion. Like, now she's feuding for the tag team championships. Like, this is something that they talked about in Unreal also, right? They were like, let's put it back on on Chelsea Green. They're like, okay, well, who's she gonna feud with? What baby faces are there that she hasn't feuded with already? But that's the point, WWE. You need to build more stars. You need to introduce more people into the mid card title scene. You need to create better feuds and have more women in your roster. So, yeah, the fact that Giulia is now feuding for the tag team championships instead of defending her US title just doesn't rub me the right way. I'm not a fan of this. If you're going to have a mid card champion on your roster on SmackDown, then have her defend week over week. Have her have feuds. Have her have feuds for her title instead of having her be in the women's tag team scene now. So, listen, like I said, cool. Let's add more tag teams to this feud. Let's add more bodies to the women's TLC match as long as we get that women's TLC match. But also, what are you doing with your champion, WWE? What are you doing with your women's US champion? You know what I'm not a fan of is this Johnny Gargano versus Fraxium feud. I don't care. I get that we're kind of in a weird place with Johnny Gargano now because Tommaso Ciampa is gone from WWE. So what do we do with Johnny Gargano now that there is no DIY? He's feuding with Fraxium over Axiom's mask. Fine. So Nathan Frazier beat Johnny Gargano tonight after Candice LeRae. After Axiom put his mask on Candice LeRae, she couldn't see. She then smacked Johnny Gargano by accident. Fraxium or Nathan Frazier took advantage. He pinned Johnny Gargano, and they win. But Candice LeRae still left with Axiom's mask. So this feud isn't over, and I don't know why. I don't know why you won't just end this feud, WWE. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you care. I really don't care about this feud at all. You know what else I'm not a fan of? Is ball humor. This WWE just, they're like stuck at being 12 years old, right? They're stuck at what I used to like when I watched wrestling during the Attitude Era. I get that Triple H was a star during the Attitude Era. I get that Road Dogg was a star during the Attitude Era. I get that everyone was going suck it during the Attitude Era. But this ball humor again, right? We did this during the whole John Cena's farewell tour with R-Truth, and now R-Truth did the same thing about the Rumble. He's like, "Oh, here's my balls, Nick. All this, hey, oh, I'm gonna sleep on tonight knowing that my balls are in your hands." Oh, I just can't with this bull, man. I hate it. It's so stupid, WWE. Like, get better writers or something, man. Jesus Christ. Also, during that whole segment, we had AJ Styles showed up, right? Nick Aldis put something out on social media where he invited AJ Styles to Canada to SmackDown. He was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to go through with this match with Gunther, man, for your career?" AJ Styles is like, "I stand up to bullies and I'm going to beat this guy." And yeah, sure, he retired John Cena, but he didn't have to be a dick about it. Okay, fine, whatever. But the good thing that we got out of all of this is that Shinsuke Nakamura has challenged AJ Styles for a match at Saturday night's main event. Yeah, great. Awesome. Let's do it. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at Saturday night's main event. I think AJ Styles is going to win that match, and I don't think that that's going to be a bad match by any means. Let's do it. Great call by WWE to add this match to the card. Kit Wilson had a backstage segment also. He was getting interviewed. He then had kind of a face-to-face, an encounter with Matt Cardona. I think we're finally going to get a feud for Kit Wilson. We're finally going to get a proper feud between Kit Wilson and Matt Cardona, and I don't hate that by any means. I think that Kit Wilson is someone that is on a lot of people's radars right now, and WWE needs to capitalize on that. So I'm glad that they're giving him some love. I'm glad that they're giving him an actual feud against Matt Cardona, and I can't wait to see them put on some great matches because I love Kit Wilson. I love Pretty Deadly as a whole. Matt Cardona, of course, right? He can absolutely go. So I don't think that these two guys are going to put on a bad match. And I like it. WWE, good call. Now, the one thing I don't like is that we're going to keep pretending Kit Wilson is a heel just because, oh, look at this man who isn't acting all manly and stuff in a world full of manly men, in a company that's full of manly men that's owned by manly men. So Kit Wilson's a heel because he doesn't act like a manly man. So he's a heel now. But we all love him and we all cheer him. And as far as I'm concerned, he's an absolute face. And he's saying absolutely nothing wrong. He is in the right. And I want Kit Wilson to beat Matt Cardona. And I want Kit Wilson to be the next U.S. champion. I said it. It's probably not going to happen, but that is what I want. There was a whole lot that happened regarding the main events, regarding this Trick Williams versus Damian Priest match, regarding what's probably the main event at Saturday night's main event with that fatal four-way for the number one contendership for the WWE Undisputed Champion. Man, that sentence was a mouthful, right? But there was a lot that went on regarding this, right? So the show opened with Sami Zayn addressing Montreal. He's a Canadian, so yeah, we're gonna cheer him in Montreal. I think he actually might be from Montreal, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, he opened the show. Everyone cheered because we love Sami, and especially in Canada, they love Sami. He was then interrupted by Trick Williams, who was basically like, I don't like you and I'm going to win tomorrow. And then he was interrupted by Damian Priest, who was like, I don't like you and I'm going to win tonight. And then the three of them started feuding at one point, and Randy Orton apparently just watched this from the back. He was just watching this on the screen. He didn't get involved in this whole brawl. Cool. So the main event for tonight is Trick Williams versus Damian Priest, but we're not done yet because we also got a promo from Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre came out there. He was like, hey, you guys enjoy that therapy session between Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu? He talked about how he is Canada's champion. He is the best thing to happen to Canada. The Montreal Expos. No, not the Expos. I don't know. The Canadians. Whatever their NHL team is. I'm stuck in the 90s apparently with the Montreal Expos, but he was talking about their hockey team because Canadians love hockey, and he's like, you guys haven't won a championship in a while, but you know what? I'll be your champion. He also, called out everyone that's involved in Saturday night's main event, that number one contender match. He told Trick Williams like, hey, he's like Trick Williams, he's a new dude and cool, but look at this youngster thinking he can hang with the big boys. He's like, Randy Orton's in this match. Randy Orton isn't the same Randy Orton I used to feud with back in the days. He's soft. And then he's like, Damian Priest. He's like, Damian Priest, I wasted my time with that guy. Talk about a guy who couldn't take advantage of his opportunity. And then he's like, Sami Zayn, his kid doesn't like him. He's like, I don't care about you and I don't care about your kid, Sami Zayn, and you're not going to win, which means that Sami Zayn's definitely winning at Saturday night's main event. So that whole thing happened. Then there was a segment backstage between Damian Priest and Sami Zayn, where Damian Priest basically told Sami, hey, don't get involved in my match. I don't need you to get involved in my match. I don't need you to come out and attack Trick Williams. I don't need you to be in my corner. I don't need you to have my back. Just stay out of my way. We can obviously see what's going to happen. Sami Zayn is like, okay, whatever, dude. Bye. And then he walks away and he runs into Drew McIntyre and he slaps the bejesus out of Drew McIntyre. So these two are definitely building a feud. They're already building up the match between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. So if WWE projected anything during this week's SmackDown, was that we're going to get Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble, which honestly, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Do I think Sami Zayn can beat Drew McIntyre at the Rumble? No, I don't think Sami Zayn is going to win if he gets the number one contendership. Do I know for certain? Am I 100% sure after what happened a few weeks ago with Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes? No, he absolutely could win. Yeah, there's a chance. Sure, there's a greater than 25% chance, as far as I'm concerned, for Sami Zayn to beat Drew McIntyre for the Undisputed Championship at the Royal Rumble. So, okay. Yeah. Anyway, we then had our main event, which was Trick Williams versus... Oh, no, wait, before that, obviously. Let's rewind a little bit. We also had Rey Fenix run into Trick Williams, basically being like, hey, we have unfinished business. We need to have a match. Trick Williams is like, I don't even remember your name, dude. I get it. You want a match with me because I can make you look good, because I can make you make a name for yourself, but I have bigger fish to fry, essentially, is what he said. So we're definitely going to get a Rey Fenix versus Trick Williams feud at some point, which honestly just tells me even further that Trick Williams is not winning at Saturday night's main event. So let's move on to our main event between Damian Priest and Trick Williams, where, you guessed it, Sami Zayn got involved. Sami Zayn interfered in the match. Again, something about this match just wasn't doing it for me. Damian Priest is just such a slow worker in the ring. Like, he's not bad, he's just slow, and the crowd just wasn't into it, so I wasn't into it. And Sami Zayn got involved. He attacked Trick Williams. I think I think that means Trick Williams wins the match by DQ, or maybe it was no contest. I don't know. I don't really care. Trick Williams eventually gets the upper hand on Sami and Damian Priest. So he's standing in the ring. He's standing tall, looking like he's going to go into Saturday night's main event with the upper hand. And then out of nowhere, here comes Randy Orton finally getting involved in this whole thing. He RKO's Trick Williams. He then poses in the turnbuckle. He poses in the corner. We're about to go off the air. Sami Zayn and Randy Orton kind of have a face-to-face. They look like they're going to shake hands, and then boom, another RKO out of nowhere. Randy Orton RKOs everyone, and the show goes off the air just like that with Randy Orton standing tall. I don't know if you guys can hear my heater right now. It's pretty loud, but it's also pretty cold here in New York where I am. Anyway, like I said, not the best SmackDown of the year. By no means was it bad. It was just, there was a lot of filler, a lot of like, hey, we're on autopilot until we get to the Rumble, until we build actual stories for WrestleMania. Fine, I'm not mad at it. It was a fine watch. Like, it didn't drag on for too long. It definitely felt better than SmackDowns in the past, but compared to recent weeks, this wasn't at the same level, which, fine, they all can't be, right? Also, I forgot to mention Roman Reigns declared for the Rumble. Like, he wasn't there or anything. I mean, he's not gonna show up to Canada, right? No, they had a picture of Roman Reigns, and they were just like, the OTC is declared for the Royal Rumble, and he's gonna be there. So yeah, that's a way you can do it. Also, I guess, I don't know. I think WWE hasn't really been building the Royal Rumble match itself. Like, in the past, you have all these people declaring. Sure, we've had some declare. You also have like some qualification matches, which we might get next week, because again, everything's kind of on autopilot right now, which I actually don't hate not having the qualifying matches, because it never made sense to me that some people can just declare and other people have to like win a match to qualify. But anyway, like I said, SmackDown, fine. Saturday night's main event happening. As you see this, it's happening tonight. So some implications there, right? We have Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes. That's going to be something that we're going to keep going with. Number one contendership for Drew McIntyre's title. That's something that could potentially change the course of WrestleMania. We have the women's tag team titles being defended. That could be something that can also change the course of WrestleMania, right? We have now AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura. That's probably not going to be anything that changes anything for WrestleMania, but it's just going to be a hell of a match that I absolutely want to see. So anyway, great. We're heading into Rumble season. We're heading into WrestleMania season, and I'm on board. Get on the train. Let's do this. Let's enjoy the show for the next couple of months, because this is where WWE is at its best, quite honestly. But anyway, though, since you made it this far, make sure to drop a like. Let me know in the comments if you think Sami Zayn is going to win at Saturday night's main event. And if he does win, do you think he has any chance of beating Drew McIntyre? I think it's a greater than zero chance. I think it's a greater than 0% chance. So you're telling me there's a chance, right? Anyway, though, as always, until next time, make sure to hit up one of my videos. Make sure to watch my older videos. They're a lot of fun. I'm sure you'll like them. And if you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe. What are you waiting for? You made it this far. You watched the video up until this point, and you're not subscribed? Get out of here. Come on, subscribe, dude. Anyway, though, as always, until next time, have a nice day.